Yes, hello, welcome to On the Bench, the weekly sports show for Lincolnshire and East Yorkshire here on Estuary TV. Well, coming up on tonight's programme, we've got a roundup of scores and news involving our local sporting teams and individuals. And joining me tonight to give their views are Hull City supporter Gail Lorne and our regular pundit Tom Hardy. Hello, welcome to you both.
Hello, thank you.
Well, later in the show, we'll be joined by Cleethorpes Cricket Club chairman Andy Hayth to tell us about an exciting competition coming up at the club. And Matt Denson tries his hand at squash. And Tom Reed, let's not forget him, he answers your tweets in A View from the Estuary. But before any of that, here's the regional roundup. It's Team Talk. Well, Hull City finished their Premier League season with a 2-0 home defeat against Everton. Steve Bruce's side can, of course, now look ahead to their big day at Wembley against Arsenal in the FA Cup final. We'll be previewing that game in just a moment. Elsewhere in the ECB in cricket, in the Premier League, Louth beat leaders Bracebridge Heath, who were all out for 65. Meanwhile, Marinder Singh hit 63 of Grimsby's 141 for 7 at home to Lyndon before the game was abandoned. Market Raisin versus Market Deeping, well, that was abandoned as well without play. And finally, congratulations to Amy Woodhead of Wheelsby Park Riding School. She'll be riding Ekitov at the 5-year-old class at the Nationals. Ekitov, whose owner Carl Hester won gold for Team GB at the London 2012 in the equestrian team dressage, you may recall. Well, also congratulations to Emma Wells and Cody, who've been selected to compete at the Home International Riding for the Disabled Association at Vale View. Well, thanks again, of course, to those clubs who've sent us their results this week. If you'd like your club's results featured in Team Talk on future shows, then drop us a line. It's the usual address via email onthebench@estuary.tv. So on Saturday, of course, it's a historic day as Hull City head to Wembley in their first ever FA Cup final appearance to face Arsenal. Well, the furthest the club had gone previously was a semi-final 84 years ago in 1930 when they lost 1-0 to Arsenal after a 2-2 draw in the original tie. Well, here in the studio, I'm delighted to say, is Hull City superfan Gail Lorne. Gail, you must be tremendously excited already.
Very excited to achieve so much, really. We've come from a mid-table championship side to be promoted to Premiership, stay in the Premiership, go on to semi-final, Sheffield Wednesday. Not a great first half, second half, sort of turned things around, got through to the FA Cup final. It's going to be a magical day. Momentous day, first time, like you said before, that the club has ever got into a final.
You were pretty confident that they'd win the semi-final. They'd get to the semi-final. You'd already booked your hotel, hadn't you?
Yeah. We'd got the tickets for the semi-final. We decided prior to that we would book our train tickets, our hotel, everything for the final. Regardless, you know, we were pretty confident that we would get through. Albeit on the day, everything went wrong. The train going to the semi-final, there was a fatality on the line, so we had to jump off a bus and get on another bus. The bus was going the wrong way, so we had to jump on another one, get onto another one. It was a horrendous day. We finally got there. The nerves were kicking in. It was just, you know, it just seemed everything was going to go wrong.
Well, that's the semi-final. You're now at the final. Of course, again, you got your tickets. It's cost you a bit more this time, but well worth it. Do you stand a realistic chance, do you think?
I'm more optimistic this time. It's a total different ball game to playing. I mean, Arsenal have beat us twice this season. It's a different day. It's a different venue. Nerves kicking with players. We've got nothing to lose. We've got to go for it. I think we've got a really good chance.
Of course, you've got the situation with Matty Fryatt, who's been your cup star, hasn't he? Really,
yeah,
you're without
super. Yeah.
You're without Long and Jelavic, but it doesn't seem to have mattered, does it?
No. Obviously, Aluka as well. The Sagbo. We've got the potential there. We've just got to do it on the day. We've just got to prove. I mean, the players have done so well this season. They've got to be proud of themselves of what they've achieved so far.
Against an Arsenal side, though, who've secured a Champions League place, of course, they'll now be relaxed and confident, really, looking at where the two sides are on the table.
Yeah, considering that we've lost since the semi-final, we've lost the last 4 games and drawn 1.
Was that inevitable, though, with the players? They have half a mind on getting injured.
Yeah,
they want to make sure they're there, don't they?
I think that's what's been the problem. Their minds have been elsewhere. They were safe in the Premiership. They knew that was fine. The last month we've more or less done that.
It's a big ask, Tom, isn't it?
It is a big ask, but it's an FA Cup final. I think, you know, anyone can win it. We saw with Wigan last year. No one fancied them at all. I certainly didn't, and they defied the odds and beat Man City. So Hull can definitely do it. You can definitely do it. I mean, Arsenal haven't been fantastic all season. So I think if they go there with an open mind and attack, I think they can definitely do it.
And should they win, what does it mean as far as Europa League for them?
Massive. I mean, obviously Europa League is going to be huge for Hull. Something they haven't experienced.
No.
I'm sure you'll be going to all the games as well.
I shall try. I've been to Portugal last year, went to friendlies. We went to Portugal to watch them there, so we shall try.
All the family going?
Probably not. It's a bit more expensive.
To Wembley?
Yes, to Wembley, yeah, definitely.
You've got an Arsenal fan in there as well, haven't you?
Oh, I have a future son-in-law, unfortunately, who is an Arsenal fan, yes. It's a bit tough when he comes home, but yeah, he's not allowed to wear his Arsenal gear when he comes home.
Okay.
But,
Well, Rugby Magic weekend also takes place on Saturday, featuring 4 back-to-back derbies, including Hull against Hull KR. Tom, how do you see this going?
Well, it's going to be a tight game. Obviously, it's the same day as the FA Cup final, so Hull will be deserted, I should think. It'll be a very tight game. There'll be a lot of players, obviously, playing with a lot of passion. Hull FC haven't won in the past 2 games. They've lost the past 2 games, and Hull Kingston Rovers haven't won in the past 6. So they're not in great form going into it. But I think Hull FC going in as favourites, personally.
Okay. All right. Okay, Tom, for now. Thanks very much indeed. Well, next up on the show, here's Tom Reed answering your tweets in a view from the Estuary.
Hello and welcome once again to A View from the Estuary. What are Hull City's chances of winning the FA Cup against Arsenal? Barring any major upsets, you have to say Arsenal are favourites to win the FA Cup. Obviously, you look at the 2 teams, standout favourites are Arsenal, position to position around the pitch. Hull, obviously can't really compete with Arsenal in terms of that. They have got quality players to come in, and obviously they've got this far in the FA Cup so far, which means they are unbeaten in the competition. But Arsenal are obviously a different kettle of fish in the final. They are favourites. So I think barring any upsets, Hull's chances are very slim, I'll be honest. There is a chance, if Arsenal do make mistakes, obviously they lost the final against Birmingham a few years back in the League Cup. So, it can happen, but Arsenal are favourites, and I think Hull, be outsiders for this one. What are your thoughts on England's provisional World Cup squad? Obviously, Roy Hodgson knows the current set of players better than anyone else at this moment in time. So, you can't really argue with his decision, but obviously everyone has their opinions. I think if you want to go for experience, I would have taken Michael Carrick over Sterling or Chamberlain, but then you have to give these youngsters a chance because they are the future of England. So Sterling and Chamberlain are great choices because don't forget, for experience, he has taken Lampard and Gerrard. The forwards, I think everyone second-guessed his decision there, the 4 men up top. There was a lot of decision and debates around the defenders. Obviously, Luke Shaw's gone in place of Ashley Cole. He's not taken Ashley Cole, and he's since retired from international football. That might come back to haunt him in the really tough games if we get to a quarter-final where Luke Shaw hasn't got the experience. But overall, I think it's a great decision for the 23-man squad. And, you have to take risks sometimes to benefit the future of England. How do you see Grimsby Town's chances of promotion next season? I'll be honest, I think it's going to be very tough. There's a massive change around at the club in personnel now, obviously in playing staff. They've released 8 players. They've given 3 young lads professional contracts who've been playing in the youth teams and reserves and whatnot. So it's all changed at Grimsby Town. I do feel actually that they're going to struggle to reach the playoffs next season with such big changes. You look at the clubs that are up there, they've had consistency in playing staff. So Grimsby Town may struggle to find form amongst a new starting 11. It's Paul Hurst's job actually, obviously, to now find and rebuild and reshape another team to try and gain promotion. I think it'll be tough. There's only one automatic place, and I don't think they'll get that. And I think playoffs may be out of their reach next season as well. Also, having said that, I think they'll still be top half of the table. They're not the worst side in the league, far from it. So it'll be tough, but I can see them finishing mid-table next season. Thank you once again for your questions this week. If you want to send a question into the programme, you can do so on Twitter at AskEstuary, or of course you can email us on the bench at estuary.tv.
Thanks, Tom. That's all we've got time for. Join us again in part 2. Welcome back to On the Bench. Well, still in the studio are Tom Hardy and Gail Lorne, but joining us now, I'm delighted to say, is Andy Hayth from Cleethorpes Cricket Club. Andy, welcome along.
Hey, Rob.
First of all, tell us about this big event, this Lashings event that's coming up very soon at the club.
Lashings All-Star 11 are due to visit Cleethorpes Cricket Club on 30th of July, which is a Wednesday. So hopefully we can get a big crowd down there, encourage people to come. and have a great extravaganza cricket festival, you know.
Yeah, tell us some more about Lashings. What do we know about them?
Lashings are predominantly a group of ex-international cricketers, people who have played for Lashings quite recently, the likes of Gordon Greenwich, Courtney Walsh, Chris Schofield. So, you know, we are more or less guaranteed an 11 that are going to visit Cleethorpes of that sort of ilk.
And how can viewers find out more about the event?
They can ring the cricket club, which is Cleethorpes 691271. Within the next couple of weeks it will all be posted on the Cleethorpes website, and local press will also, you know, make all available.
And what about the ticket arrangements? What kind of tickets are on offer?
There are corporate tickets available for tables of 10. For a table of 10, the cost is £500. For that, you will also get an 11th seat on the table, which will be one of the players.
Wonderful. So it's a real glitzy event.
Yeah, sure.
What other sort of things are going to be happening at the event?
There'll be an auction. There'll be you know, raffles and prizes. There'll be things available for the masses. It's not all about the corporate. People will be able to arrive at the gate, sit round the ground, spectate. Cost for a child will be £3 entry. An adult will be £5.
Just very quickly, for any cricket aficionados, one or two of those names.
Gordon Greenwich.
Gordon Greenwich.
West Indian opening cricketer.
Legend.
Absolute legend. Courtney Walsh, about a 7-foot international fast bowler.
And more besides.
Sure.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. For now, thanks very much indeed. Well worth going along to. Well, we'll actually be giving away 2 corporate tickets. You just heard me mention that, to the Lashings event, but you'll have to tune in next week to On the Bench or that Friday show to find out how you can be in with a chance of winning those. Well, next up on the show, Matt Denson went along to learn all about squash with the team down at Cleethorpes Cricket Club. Take a look at this to see how he got on.
Okay, so a very strange one this morning. Got a roll call to turn up to Cleethorpes Cricket Club. Clearly you can see I'm not on a cricket pitch. What I am though is on a squash court, because what they have here is a very thriving club that is obviously a squash club. I'm here today to find out a lot more about it. Steve, thank you for taking a bit of time out of your session. Can you tell me a few rules of the game? What are they?
Yeah, well basically, whoever's serving, when they decide to serve, the server stands in whichever box they prefer to stand in, the left or the right side. The opponent stands in the opposite quarter, back quarter of the court. The service has got to go above the centre line, the service line, and then land in the quarter of the court where the opponent stood.
I understand you've got some people that's quite good at this sport, produced from this club, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, you know, not just from this club, but the county in general at the minute is really strong. Adam Auckland being the guy that's improved more than any of the others really. He's gone on straight through the junior ranks and now he's on the world circuit playing in world tournaments. There's a couple of juniors in the town, the Faulkner brothers, who again they've gone through the ranks at their respective clubs, and they're now on the county circuits and played in county national tournaments.
Fantastic result for the county.
Oh, brilliant. In front or behind? Good. And again, make sure you start hitting this side wall. Just face this way first. Good lad. Better?
So what do you think of the first effort at squash? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, it was alright. You just needed to open your leg face and put your leg in first.
Okay.
Yeah, it was quite good. You just need to hit it down a bit more.
Okay. Alright, thank you. And yourself?
You was hitting it hard, and the reason it went over a lot because you had the racket face up and you had too much up and not enough down.
So you think I need some more training is what you're saying, guys? Okay, now tell me, individually, why do you come here and what do you enjoy about it?
Well, it's the games that I enjoy playing against each other.
And I like, because I got into it from my uncle who's coaching, and he told me it's really a lot of fun, so I started it and it was a lot of fun.
Brilliant, so you enjoy it?
Yeah. I just got into it because it would keep you fit and my dad plays it.
It certainly keeps you fit. I tell you what, I'm nearly worn out here. And yourself?
It's alright when we
So you're just family orientated, everyone gets on with each other. Guys, thank you very much. See you soon, alright?
See you later.
Squash, sport I'd never thought of before today. Surprisingly, a lot of people play it. The more you get to find out about these sports, the more intrigued you get. If you want to try something to bring your fitness levels up, and you want a good club, and you want to get on with people, this is the sort of thing to do. Squash. Go and try it.
Thanks, Matt. Well, Gail's trying hard to contain her excitement ahead of Hull City's appearance in the FA Cup final on Saturday. Of course, we're all excited as well about England. Roy Hodgson attempting to lead his nation to a first World Cup victory since 1966. He's sprung a few surprises with some untried young players given a chance to prove themselves in the competition. Tom, first of all, let's talk to you. What do you make of the final group that he's announced?
I think it's really exciting. I think personally, I'm really looking forward to see the young players play, see how we do. There's no expectation on England, I don't think. Not as much pressure as there has been in previous World Cups. And I think Roy's made the right decisions really with the players he's picked.
Okay, let's just pick through one or two of the decisions he's made. Ashley Cole, first of all, we've got to talk about that because that's a fairly key decision he made, and Ashley Cole's decided to call it a day.
Quite surprising. I think a lot of people will be surprised with the decision to tell him that he was going to be on the standby list, I believe, and Ashley Cole said he didn't want to be on that, so he's retired. So I think it is quite surprising that he's bringing Shaw through and leaving Cole out. I'd still have taken Cole personally, but it's good to see that Shaw will be getting a chance as well.
And there is, with Shaw and with other players as well, Barkley, Lallana, there is this youth influx, isn't there, which is new. We always seem to be playing safe as far as preparing for World Cups and Euros in the past, but this is quite refreshing, as you say.
It is, yeah, and I hope Roy Hodgson goes out and attacks and he doesn't play it too safe, because the sort of players we've got, the Lallanas, the Sterlings, the players like that, they want to go out and express themselves. So I hope Roy Hodgson doesn't tell them to sit back and defend, because it won't be their style of play at all.
Andy, how passionate are you about this World Cup that's coming up?
I'm very passionate. I'd like to see England go and do well. I think, as Matt said, it's quite refreshing. I think the fact that Cole's not going to be there could be a big miss. He's a big player, he's got a lot of experience, he's been injured, he'd probably be quite fresh. Could be a big miss.
What about defence? No John Terry?
No John Terry. No, but I think he's brought Cahill on this year, obviously with the Chelsea, the pairing at the back. I think Cahill's benefited from Terry's experience. Hopefully they'll bode well for the summer.
Gail, Wayne Rooney needs a World Cup, doesn't he, this time?
He does, yes, definitely. He needs I think it's a confidence thing with him as well. Get a couple of goals under his belt, and I think he'll progress really well.
What is it about Rooney, Tom, that he just, come the big stage, he never seems to deliver, does he?
No, well, I think Euro 2004 was the best he did, and he got injured. I think it was against the Swiss. He looked really good, and then he got the injury, and ever since that, he's not really performed in the big tournaments. I don't know what it is. Hopefully he does. I hope he pulls through this time, and he leads England through. With a bunch of players he's got playing alongside him, I think he could lead them.
There is worry about one or two injuries as well. I mean, Wilshire's had a bit of an up and down season with injuries, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. And some might be surprised with Wilshire's inclusion, because the games he has played, he hasn't stood out. He's not been outstanding. He's not really come on as people thought he would as a youngster. So obviously he's a risk, and Oxlade-Chamberlain a little bit of a risk as well.
And
but
Stones and Flanagan being taken along as cover in defence for Jets.
Yeah, and I think both have played reasonably well. Stones has looked really good towards the end of the season. I'm just surprised that Curtis Davies wasn't on.
Oh, I thought you'd slip that in. Quick prediction for Saturday?
I don't like to do predictions, but 2-1 I think.
Okay.
It's going to be.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it, aren't we? Of course we are. That's all we've got time for tonight. Don't forget to tune in next week. Next week's show waiting for you. Also catch that Friday show where we'll be providing details on how to win those tickets to the Lashings event. Thanks very much to our guests, to Gail. Good luck Saturday. To Andy and to Tom as well. Thanks very much indeed to you for watching as well. See you next week. Until then, bye-bye.